Hey, everybody, and welcome to the 35 business ideas that require little or no startup funds. And what I did was I just made a list off the top of my head of ideas, businesses that you can move forward with. And some of these are might have some age issues with them. Some of them are really great for young kids. Some of them are good for older kids. But take a look at the list. And the most important thing is to realize that you don't really need a lot of money in order to launch a business that can make you money. And one of the best things that you can do is to start off really, really small with a low amount of money invested and then use the money that you get back to reinvest in your business. Okay. Some of these require some materials, some of these don't require any materials, some of them require time. Some of them can be your time, some of them can be other people's time, but this is just an overview. And so what I've done is I've taken this list, which you have in front of you, and I have created this little page here. So we're going to go through, and I'm going to try to go through these relatively fast, right? So that you can hear these. So number one, face painting. You might need some, this would be like going to a party or going to a restaurant or going to a yard sale or a farmer's market and providing face painting services for kids who are in attendance. You might have some COVID issues right now, so some of these may be COVID friendly, some of them may not be COVID friendly. Obviously, everything that we're talking about here, you want to talk to your parents about, and your parents, you're the ones probably listening to this, so you talk to your kids about it. But face painting is a really cool business, and you can either charge for it or you can ask for tips or allow tips, or you could get a sponsor. You could get a business who is going to pay you to provide free face painting for the guests. Now, face painting does require some materials, but if you got a sponsor who is going to pay you $30, $25, $100 to provide face painting for everybody who comes into the event for the time, then you can use that money to get the face paint. I really don't honestly know how much face paint is, but I'm going to assume that you can do that affordably and make some money. Caricaturist is similar to that. So this would be a situation where if you're a good drawer, or, and this is important, maybe you're not a good artist, but you can find somebody who's a really good artist and you can put together the business where they have their canvas, they have their art supplies, and you're paying them to sit there and draw people who come up, and then you can charge those people. But if you're an artist, you can do that as well. Again, what do you need? Paper, pencil, charcoal, whatever it is that your medium is. Some of these things do require, a little bit of an expenditure, but this is very, very low expense. Poop cleanup, great business. So everybody who has a dog is constantly having to pick up poop in their backyard. Nobody wants to do it, especially when you have to go mow. You want to pick up that poop. So you could go around and identify people who have dogs and say, I will come to your house once a week and pick up poop. Doesn't cost you any money except for potentially if you want to hand out a flyer or something like that. You go to the dog park and do the same thing. Not pick up the poop at the dog park, but solicit business. Curb number painting is a really great idea. So this is where if you drive down the neighborhood, you can see that some people have their number of their house on the curb. Well, what do you need to do in order to provide that service? You just need to have what's called a stencil, where you can basically either spray paint or paint over the number and it shows up on the curb. What's great about this is that you don't need any materials in order to take the order, right? So you can go around and say, would you like for me to do your number on your curb? They say yes. You can either take money in advance or take money after the fact, but then you can use that money to go buy the materials that you need in order to deliver on that. So no upfront money that's sort of out of your pocket unless you need to. You can also, take the order or the promise of the order. And if you do that, then it's pretty easy. If you have a bunch of orders, it's pretty easy to get the $10 or $20 that you would need in order to get the stencil and the spray paint, let's say. Leaf cleanup, same like poop, doesn't really require much expense. You could even use your clients. You could use their rake. You could use their trash bags. You're providing the labor, so it doesn't really require any upfront costs. Same thing with sticks and brush cleanup. Flyer distribution. This is a great business, okay? Everybody, all the businesses in your neighborhood would love to go out and distribute flyers, but they don't want to make a big expenditure in terms of postage and that sort of thing. So what you can say to them is say, listen, you print up the flyers business and I will pick the flyers up and I will distribute them. So you're using your time to go distribute flyers in the neighborhood, and then you charge them a per delivery fee. Now, what's cool about this is that you could also go to multiple businesses and you can be making one stop at the house and distributing multiple flyers. All right. So this is something to think about. Again, no expenditure of money out of your own pocket. Mystery shopping. I think I have mystery shopping in person and mystery shopping on the website. So this is a situation where businesses would like to get feedback on what the customer's experience is at their business. So either in person or website, you could go and say, I will go to your business and I will be a customer on the website or at the shop, and then I'll give you a report afterwards of what my experience was. Well, let's say that the business pays you $10 to do that, and it takes you 15 minutes to go and do the business. You could go hop from business to business and business and be having a nice stream of income coming in. Again, costs you nothing, no upfront materials. Video creation. Lots of businesses want to be creating videos, whether those are interviews with the business owner or interviews with customers or tours of the business. If you can go in and you could use their equipment, right? If they have a phone or if they have a camera that you could use, so you don't even have to use your own equipment, and then you do the video editing after the fact. Now, you might say, well, Fraser, video editing is going to cost me money. Well, does it? No, there are free video editing tools that you can use on the website, up to and including YouTube, to edit video. All right, so you become a video editor, and now you're helping create the video and edit the video. Site photography, similar situation. You go into a business and you take pictures of the business, that the business's store or shop, restaurant, etc., and then the business can use those videos or those photos in their marketing materials. Facebook business page setup, and I think I have Instagram business account set up. So a lot of businesses know they need to be doing social media. They know they need to be doing Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or what's chat or chat up or whatever. Okay, I'm turning into one of those guys who uses the made up words. So you can come in and say, I'll set up your Facebook business page for you. I'll set up your Instagram business page for you. None of that requires any upfront money, right? They're paying you to do it and you don't have any materials. You're providing a service. Zoom interview or arranger. Zoom is great for doing interviews. So let's say you're in a situation where you reach out to a business and you say, hey, would you like to have an interview? We'll interview you, and then we'll create the audio, the video of that interview and make it available to them to be able to put onto their social media, to be able to put on their website, to be able to share with their clients, etc. So you can be the Zoom interviewer, charge the business for your time, and or if you don't want to do the interviewer, you could be the arranger. You could find somebody else who's willing to do the interview. You charge, you pay then. Let's say you charge $25 for the interview and you pay the interviewer $10. Well, you're pocketing $15 on every interview. Parents helper. This is a traditional business, right? You got people who have kids around. They have days off, right? It's right. We're in the middle today of election day. That's a day off. You have holidays, days off. You have all this stuff. Well, parents of young kids need help. So you could be a parent helper to come and be an extra pair of hands or to help watch and entertain the kid. And I think this leads into a bunch of different businesses that involve entertaining kids. So this is great. Again, you might be a kid yourself, but you're not a 2-year-old kid, right? You're not a 1-year-old kid. So you can be helping. You don't have to have the full responsibility of being a babysitter. You can be a helper. So here are some, I think these are some parent helper activities. Chess opponent. Let's say you have a little kid who's learning chess. You know how to play chess. You like playing chess. So now you get to play this kid chess. He or she learns from you. You get an opportunity to play something you like. Here are a few other things like that. Video game opponent. You can find kids who like video games or parents who have kids who like video games or board games or chess or playing out in the yard or designing things or crafts or any of that stuff. You come and you bring an interest and a skill in that area. Let's say they want to take their kid on a park day, okay, but they would rather sit around and relax, and you go around and play with that kid. That's a great valuable service that you're providing for those kids. Same thing with sports in that moment. All right, so internet researcher. This is a great business. Most businesses or somebody who's planning on doing something has excuse me, there should be a dog silencer at some point because I'm hearing a lot of barking in the background. Internet researcher would be a situation where you could say, oh, I'm looking to find, let's say my business is looking to find a bunch of restaurants that I'd like to invite to do something, or a bunch of real estate agents that I'd like to invite to do something, or a bunch of parents that I'd like to do something. Well, your job is to do research on the internet and provide me a list, and I pay you for every person that you provide me. So let's say you give me 20 restaurants and you give me all their information. Well, I'm paying you 50 cents per restaurant. Well, how long did it take for you to find that information? Maybe it took you an hour to find those 20 restaurants. So you just made $10, right? By sitting around and doing the research. What's great about that is that you can do that research and get faster and more efficient about doing the research. But this is a great business because there are plenty of people who have things they want to share. They just need names and contact information for people to share it with. Flyer poster, similar. We talked about kind of a flyer distributor, I think, but a flyer poster would be like, let's say I have a flyer and there are 20 bulletin boards in the neighborhood I'd like to have that posted on. Well, you could do that for them, charge them a fee. What you're doing for businesses and for busy people is they have money. They don't mind paying $20 for something as long as they don't have to do it. And you're willing to do it in exchange for that $20. A stringer or a freelancer is an interesting idea. This is basically somebody who writes stories or takes pictures and then tries to sell that story or that picture to a blogger or a social media or a newspaper or a television studio, etc. So what you can do is reach out to any of those media and say, hey, are there stories that you would like to do that you would pay me to do? And then you go do the story and then you sell that to the media, or you create your own idea for a story and sell it. So if they're telling you they're going to pay you for it, then you already kind of have the gig. If you're coming up with your own idea, then you're marketing it to them. So a flyer dropper offer is similar. Let's say rather than posting the flyer to a bulletin board, what you're doing is you are dropping it off at all the stores in a neighborhood, right? So let's say that you have a business that wants to promote their event or they want to promote their service and they want it to go to all the stores at the mall or all the teachers at the school or all the businesses along a certain street. So you commit to dropping that flyer off at all those streets. Now you might say, well, can't they just mail it? Well, mailing something takes a little bit of energy and effort, and they still have to pay. If you think about it, they have to pay 50 cents for the stamp for it to go to each of those businesses, and you could deliver it and charge less than that or the same as that if you wanted to. Event producer is kind of a bigger idea. This would be where either somebody has an event idea and you come and say, hey, I will help you plan that, find the place to do it, help recruit volunteers, etc. Or you have your own event idea. One great idea would be like, let's say you wanted to have a chess tournament. Let's say you wanted to have a video game tournament. Well, you could plan that event and then you could sell concessions, you could charge admission, you could sell advertising, you could sell merchandise, you can do all that stuff. And again, at that moment, you don't need any upfront money in order to make that happen. Emailer is kind of following up on the internet research. Let's say I have a list of 20 businesses I'd like to email. Well, I don't want to send them a mass email because it's not going to get delivered. And I might not be able to add them to my email service because they didn't really give me permission to add them to their service. But I could certainly email them, right? I can certainly send each of them an individual email. Well, I would be willing to pay you to send them the email and then just let me know which of them responded and said they were interested, which of them told me that they weren't interested. That kind of follow-up for that is customer follow-up. Every business does a bad job of following up with their customers. Well, you could be in a situation either via email or by phone or by social media where you, on behalf of a business, follow up with their customers, right? These are people that they work with. And the business can give you a list of a couple of questions to ask them. Maybe it's asking them for a testimonial. Maybe it's asking them for a referral. Maybe it's asking them whether they need some more of that product or service, but you follow up on that customer. It doesn't cost you anything but time. So this is similar, I guess. Open house is something that real estate agents do when they're trying to sell a house. And one of the great things that you can do for a open house is to share about that open house in the neighborhood. It's good for the real estate agent because they get more promotion. It's good for the seller because they get more attendees. And it's good for the neighbors because they get to see what's going on in their neighborhood. So you could reach out to any real estate agent who's doing an open house and say, hey, would you like for me to promote that open house in the neighborhood? Following along with that is somebody who's done a home improvement project. Let's say that somebody in your neighborhood has built an addition or refinished a basement or built a garden house or something like that. Well, they would love for everybody in the neighborhood to know about this new addition. So that's something you can provide where they give you a list of 20, 30, 40, 50 flyers, and you go just distribute them in the neighborhood. Meme maker is kind of a cool idea. Let's say that you really like, doing fun things on the internet. You like creating memes, you like taking photos, you like making funny pictures or whatever. Well, you could go to a business and say, listen, I will create a meme for you every week, right? I will look at what is hot, what's trending, what's interesting, what people are talking about, what's funny, and I will create a meme for you every week. And then they take that and post it on their social media, and they probably get a lot of comments like, oh, that's so clever, right? So that's a neat business to do, which kind of follows along, as I mentioned, a lot of businesses know they need to be on social media, but they don't know how to do it. And you can be somebody who learns how to do social media, how to do Facebook, how to do Instagram, how to do Pinterest, how to do YouTube, how to do whatever, and you can consult the business and get paid for doing it. So going back to our video idea, one of the cool things that comes when you're doing a Zoom interview is that you can record that and get a transcript for very, very cheap, right? Okay. Like I use a transcript service where basically for $12 a month, I get unlimited transcripting of video and audio. So, but that means that I end up with a transcript that sounds like somebody talked through it, right? Well, you could be an editor. You could take those transcripts and just make them a little cleaner, clean up some of the punctuation, clean up some of the spelling, and then provide them back to the business for them to use in their marketing. Networker Matchmaker is a great, great business idea where you would go to a business and you would just say, who are the types of people that you would like to connect with? You interview them. You ask them questions about business customers. You ask them questions about potential business partners, etc. And then you go out and find those people and connect those people with your clients. What's really cool about that is that everybody you talk to adds to your supply of product, right? Like if you talk to a realtor and say, well, they really like to connect with home improvement specialists. Well, then you reach out to the home improvement specialist, and now you got a bunch of home improvement specialists, and you ask them who they'd like to connect with, and they tell you, and then you connect with those businesses. So you're just building out this kind of inventory of people that you can connect with each other. Event inviter is similar to, I guess, the event producer, where you just say, if somebody has an event, you can say, who is it that you would like to connect? And are they willing to pay you to go out and invite people to that event? Talent Finder, this kind of actually reminds me of our Youth Entrepreneurship Expo because we want to have booths of young entrepreneurs. Well, I'm willing to pay you, if you have a young entrepreneur who wants to have a booth at our event, I'm willing to pay you to connect that young entrepreneur with us. So that's a Talent Finder. Order taker. I don't really remember what I have this. Order taker is like, let's say at our Youth Entrepreneurship event, if somebody has a business, let's say a home improvement person has a business, and they just want somebody at the event to promote their business and take orders or take information. Well, you could do that for that business. So you're basically becoming a salesman for another business. And that's the last one of our 35 ideas.